What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Anything But ASIC, and today we're going to talk about Linux Plus from Comtia. I'm trying to make a course on it so that I personally can listen to it while I'm at work doing a physical job, so I can learn, get my basically Linux Plus Comtia cert. And a little bit of background: I've been using Linux for 6 years now because you know, back in the day, or 2017, Windows 10, it's just those keys were just little bit too expensive for my salary as a pizza flipper. So um, that's one of the reasons I learned Linux. The other one was let's pull this up on the screen. Was these? My friend had like a farm of S9s, Antmonitor S9s, and this was for before anything but ASIC was ever formed. So before I had a really deep, not deep, but a pretty good hate of ASICs and what they were doing. You don't hate the player, you hate the game. China. So yeah, this right here is nobody. Not too many people know this. When you get into ASICs, you'll notice that ASICs have a controller, and over the years, the controller's been upgraded. Now, this right here is the control board, and this right here in the center of the control board is a Xilinx Zynq 7000. The Xilinx Zynq 7000 can have one or two ARM core processors on it, and on top of that, in this die is an FPGA. And like I said, not a lot of people know that these two right here are RAM sticks. That's your Ethernet controller. This is a NAND flash for the configuration for the operating system, and this is your UART, your three UART pins: transfer, receive, ground, and these are your bootloader pins. A lot of people don't know this, and if you push this one back, they showed this on the E3. I think that was a Ethernet miner. If you push this back, you could actually load your operating system configuration from the SD card. And I learned this when I picked up another Xilinx Sync evaluation board from Diligent, that you can actually load your FPGA configuration onto the SD card, have the uh, operating system boot up off the SD card, and program the FPGA underneath it, and then have a full ARM processor FPGA system going here. Now, a lot of people just see the ASIC as one big unit. I see this as way more has way more potential than the ASIC itself. With all this I/O here, and all these do work. You can add extra boards. And all these do work. With all this I/O, you can control all kinds of things. You control robots, cars, or whatever have you. And I'm getting to that later. So what I learned so far from taking this apart and from being cheap and using things like they're free, like Ubuntu and Raspberry Pi, Raspbian. Well, the board isn't free, but the operating system's free. What I learned is that some basic bash commands like sudo, cd, move, copy, a couple of text editors, nano, vim, v. Basically, if you get onto this board, you're not going to have a GUI setup. You're basically going to be stuck with no visual output, basically just on the command line. So this has a very basic operating system, and in 2007, when I got into this, I had to learn very quickly because I just wasn't ready for this. This is basically it's a basic system. You have to install all your, like, if you want to get this to act like Ubuntu on command line, you have to install your own package managers and all kinds of other stuff to get this to even function outside of its minimum functioning capacity, because this is really meant to only boot up and tell the boards what to do and send a program and start a program that sends information from the boards to the mining pool. And it's rated what it does, but like I said, it can do so much more. Oh, by the way, these are JTAG pins right here. So if you ever want to program the FPGA underneath this without needing to go through the operating system, you can. So there's that. What do I do now? Now I'm a little bit further into Linux. What I do now, I try to automate things using things like systemd, RC local, which is more tied to Raspberry Pi. Uh, was it cron jobs? Try cron jobs, do cron jobs with that. Basically, try to spin up web servers, try to host people's websites. You know, just little things like that. IoT, I do a lot of IoTing. A lot of these smaller IoT projects are starting to become more like microprocessors, like the ESP32 I was talking into. The ESP32, what I was talking about in the previous video, it has a real time operating system on it, like a Linux operating system. It's very thin, it's very thin client, but it's there. Um, I can see that replacing like the Raspberry Pi Zero at some point, especially with the new models coming out, like the Wover and stuff. But let's see. Why I'm doing this? Well, I already mentioned why I was doing this, just so I can have this test guide, this exam, this Linux Plus exam test guide to listen to. Basically, to listen to. What they did in the previous Linux Plus. This is the newer one. The previous one, what it was 90 questions, and the exam guide wasn't really that long. And what would happen is, people would take those questions and brain dump them onto the internet, and people would remember those 90 questions, go in and pass the test. Well, you get to a job and you wouldn't really know anything, and they wanted to stop that, so they made it the practice test 1,000 questions, so you couldn't remember them all. And I'm still gonna try to do it. I it's not that I don't think I need to study for Linux. It's just like I said, I've been doing this for so long, and I thought this would be an easy test, but it's not. It's not. But it's. I mean, it's not like I don't know anything, but I don't know everything, and this pretty much covers everything. So yeah, this is why I'm doing this. Professor Messer didn't actually go over this. He went over the old tests, or just some key points about Linux on the old test. So I didn't really find a course on him, and his courses are really easy to follow. If you want to get to the Comptia A plus, you want to get through that, you can go over there. He has the full Comptia A plus, and it's really easy to follow. A couple of other people, Tamika from Women in Tech, and IT, what was it, IT questions and certs or something like that. I forget what his channel was called. But basically, this is how you get into IT. It's through help desk, and then you get some certs like Linux Plus, and you just move up. You don't really stay in IT help questions or whatever. He was like, you don't really stay in Linux help desk for more than a few months, and then you move on. Otherwise, you know, you'll get stuck there, and you'll just become the help desk person. So these certs are meant to get you out of that position once you're in tech. Uh, let's see. Well, I find while I'm doing this also is to kill two birds with one stone. Like, I figured that I would actually pay attention to this, because I tried to sit down and read this and read through this book and just learn the questions, try and remember. I didn't really get past 40 questions before I just got bored and just forgot the project. But now that I've made it into a project, not only am I like somewhat forced to learn, but now if I forget something, I can come back and listen to it on YouTube. So I'm pretty much killing two birds with one stone, and you guys can listen to. I'm not like, I don't care. You guys can listen to. Maybe you'll get some out of me you want. I was gonna do this with TTS, but the TTS for Linux really sucks. At least the stuff you can get for free. Adobe probably has something pretty good. I think I've heard Adobe stuff in the like long time ago, and it didn't seem so bad. But the TTS for like something like Ocular, it just sounds like a robot. So I'm gonna try to talk it out, read the questions, read the answers and stuff. Maybe I'll get to 20 questions at a time. Maybe push it to 50. I don't think so. I'll probably run out of time. But you know, that'll probably run longer than 15 minutes. So that's basically what's gonna happen. This is basically for people who, well, it's basically for me, but it's basically for people to listen to the questions and try to memorize all 1,000 questions. Is it cheating? No, because basically the questions and exams are just basically what command do you throw at the command line to make Linux do this? That's what it is. I think they said there might be some automation questions, but really it's just what command do you throw at the command line to make Linux do this? And that's pretty much all the questions. Each chapter has about 200 plus or minus questions. Um, Plus or minus questions, and there's like 5 chapters. Yeah, there's 5 chapters. So, what can you do after you get this cert? Well, go to Comtia's website. Basically, say that Linux is basically going to be in everything: smartphone servers, supercomputers, cloud, Linux and cloud cybersecurity, mobile, your phone. If you have an Android, that's basically Linux. um, Even Windows backend is going to be Linux. The front end is going to be Windows and Linux. It's going to be more like a dual boot. So if you throw Linux commands at a Windows computer now, it'll work. So a lot of cybersecurity guys will tell you that that's terrible because now Windows can now accept viruses and malware that was only Linux now can be accepted on Linux. Now I can get viruses and malware for Linux and Windows on one operating system, which is gonna be a nightmare. It's gonna be terrible. Um, Look, what jobs you can get after this? After this, I mean, this guy's in Linux. This guy's really, I mean, it's a large number. It's way more jobs than what you would get as a web developer at this point, because web development is becoming automated. Yay! With things like WordPress. I mean, not even just WordPress and Wix and stuff, but like you got actual AI that can actually create a website now. You just tell it what you want it to do, and it'll just do it. If of course, if you're willing to pay for that. If you're cheap like me, you just build your own. So yeah, this is how you get into IT. They say IT is not, it's not saturated. It's becoming automated as well, but that was the point of IT to begin with, is to automate everything. But yeah, this is how you get into IT. And learning Linux right now, if you don't know Linux, being that Windows is using Linux, I mean, the only operating system out of this is going to be Mac, which is, I think, was also Unix based. You're going to be kind of stuck. You're going to be kind of stuck when you're going into IT. So learning Linux right now, if you're getting into tech field, it's probably going to be pretty important. So if you guys get anything out of this, me going through this and just fumbling around trying to, answer some questions, trying to remember 1,000 questions, maybe you'll leave a comment on the bottom when I start the whole thing. Like I said, I'm just gonna try to talk in my normal voice because TTS sounds like a robot and it doesn't pause. It doesn't pause for the commas. I tried to get the pause, it doesn't do it. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and try to do that. If you guys get something out of it, let me know, and I'll see you guys later.